Good morning, everyone. Call this meeting to order for council meeting for December 16th, 2025. Council is conducting this meeting in person and via conference call in accordance with Municipal Government Act, Section 199. Council chambers is open for public attendance in person. However, councilors and members of the public may still join meetings remotely using our teleconference process. If the meeting is recessed, callers will be put on hold until the meeting reconvenes, with the exception at noon where callers will be asked to call back in. This helps with the quality of the calls. Please note this meeting is being recorded and may be uploaded to our website and or social media. To eliminate background noise, please mute your phone during the meeting. We ask that all attendees mute their devices to reduce disruptions to the meeting. Everyone has a right to be present at council meetings and council committee meetings. Any attendees that are considered disruptive to the progression of this meeting may be removed at the discretion of the chair, me, as per Municipal Government Act, Section 198. Thank you for your cooperation and understanding. We have an agenda before us. Is there any additions, deletions, or changes?
Through the Reeve to Council, administration would like to make a request to amend the order of items in Section 7, new business, to move 7.6, which is the Lakes of Muirfield Lagoon project history and upgrade, to discuss it prior to agenda item 7.1.
Perfect. So that will move to 7.1 and everything else will just follow after. Anything else? Motion to accept as amended.
So moved.
Motion's on the floor. Any discussion? Oh, should say, is everybody with, everybody have eScribe up? Yeah, we're good. Okay, sorry, just make sure I'm on the right one here. I'll call the question. It's okay. If it says voting in progress, you're close. Okay.
I'll open it.
And that's carried. Is there any notices of motion? Not seeing any. We'll move on to consent agenda. There's a number of information things in here. Is there anything anybody wants to pull out and discuss further?
I had one thing. I was wondering if you could pull out the Gleason Library annual report.
Yep.
It mentioned something in it that I thought we should discuss.
Okay, 5.6. Anyone else?
I asked to have the Gleason Library report removed.
I'd like to ask the WHMB correspondence be pulled out also, please.
Okay. So with this process, we have the second on page 3. There is a motion to remove consent agenda item. Whoever wants to do that.
So I'll move that we remove item 5.5 and 5.6 from the consent agenda. and add to agenda item 6.1 and 6.2.
Thank you. Motion on the floor, any discussion? Call the question. And that's carried. We need a motion to accept the rest as information.
Also, also move.
Motion on the floor to pass the rest of the consent agenda as information. Any discussion? I'll call the question. And that's carried. So business arising from consent agenda, we'll move on to 5.5. There's a letter in our packages. Mr. Hebbs had asked about it. You have the floor.
We're gonna go right there. So I guess the question is, so it's going around on social media now, and it would appear that we have 24 board members that know what the ask is going to be, and we don't. And when you go back and think of what I heard on the campaign trail, transparency and teamwork were two of the biggest issues we had. And it just seems unusual that, you know, the Wheatland Lodge has got, they have social media stuff out there, and they're saying, you know, their final line is that they're going to go to the municipalities with asks, but we have no idea what that is. But clearly they do, or it would seem they do. Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, we don't know. We're doing a study right now. We've consulted our M3 is our major project manager, and our consultant, I guess we would call him from the start, Derek Wise, are working on updating the Class B budget. Being it's Class B, it's subject to constant change. And hopefully it all comes together on January the 6th, where we are going to host this meeting, and everybody will hear it for the first time. All the councillors, that is, and the board members, the first time, that time. Nobody else. I have no idea what the money is, or it's different programs this year. They got Building Canada homes. They don't know if CMHC is there. So we are doing a study. That's all I can tell you.
So I got this that, you know, came onto social media on the weekend, and this is from the Wheatland Housing, Retirement Home and Community Subsidized. The role of the municipalities and what support would be required to help advance the project in relation to funding and financing applications. So, like, why is this not putting the cart before the horse if nobody knows? Because it's making people ask questions. They're saying, funding, you know, and it would appear like, you know, rarely they come on there and say, gee, we don't need all the money that, you know, the 3.98 million that we've already committed, which is, you know, if everything would have went the way we asked for it in 2023 or agreed to in 2023, I believe the lodge would be going. But, you know, we're not getting the funding from the government, you know, from the province. So I'm a little like, so we realized in June that we did not get the funding, and Derek Weiss and both boards knew that. And so it's a full 180 days and maybe not even that much to figure this funding out. I guess, then I don't understand. It appears that boards know, right? And we don't.
We don't know. It changes. They just changed it last week. Got a bunch of emails out of changes. They're changing the health structure of health, continuing care. They are still in the process of finding where to to put hospice in the queue. And I believe you heard on Jason Nixon at the RMA saying they've got a big problem. And he's discovered that there was close to 2,000 people living in the hospital. Remember that? And he said he was going to put 300 million into the new HPP, which is more than the 60 and 7 they've traditionally done. And then when he announced it, there's only 200 million in it. But I believe it was last week, he announced on, for higher levels of care, they differentiated them now. So it used to be SL3 and 44D. They've put 400 million into the pot there to build residence for them and different things. So people are busy sorting that out. So as I say, I don't know if we qualify for any of that money. CMHC has changed. It's probably going to be defunct with the new Canada Homes thing. I don't know how that's going to be, if there's any money left there or not. And just to tell you, last June when we submitted, I think 3 weeks before the deadline, Canada Housing put in some sort of different number in their pro forma. Anyway, it resulted in a $2 million saving for the province. And that was last minute. So what it looks like yet, I don't know. I honestly, truly don't know. I don't know what the final price is because of inflation. Their consultants are checking prices, asking suppliers, doing all that work. So we didn't start this work until they opened up this go around of funding. And hence January 6th, funding closes January 31st. And you'll all hear it at the same time. Come out of this meeting, I'm hoping that the municipalities all draw up. We've had an election, draw up a new letter of support from the councils. I was hoping maybe we can all sign the same one or sign a joint one or make it look more, make it the government understand that we need this and we all support it. And maybe our consultant, wasn't me who thought of the idea. We keep applying for the same thing and keep getting no. He's successful on other ventures, and those other ventures are doing something to make themselves look better. And it's usually putting more money in the pot. So we can discuss that on January the 6th too, if we're going to sweeten our application, or, but we have to wait till the 6th because I got nothing to tell you besides that.
So this consultant has been successful in other ventures, but I'll say Gretzky won 4 Stanley Cups in Edmonton, Messier won 1, and when they weren't winning Stanley Cups anymore, they moved on. Right? So, right?
One last time.
You know,
What about, I don't know how many apps he has in, half a dozen. Yeah, I think he got 2 builds last time, I think. He keeps winning, not with us.
Councillor Clayton, you were waiting.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that the Wheelan Housing Management Board, and I'm not the spokesman for it, but I'm on the board, of course, as far as the council is concerned. The application was opened up just before we had our last meeting, and we voted to put our application in again for Alberta Partnership Program because it was opened up again. And those minutes of that meeting are posted, and that's where social media gets their information, is that it's open to everybody knowing that we are applying for the next round of applications. And because we don't have a lot of money to spend, we've got to make sure we're very careful on what we do. So anyway, it's a timing issue why you weren't informed before anybody else, because the meeting was held just the last meeting, which is not that long ago. So you're talking about 3 weeks, and we voted at that meeting to send a letter to all the municipalities so that everybody knew that we were making an application again. That's all I'm saying.
I'm thinking what Burrow's talking to on the social media post is a post by the Wheatland Housing. It was put on there to inform everybody. We're trying to be transparent, telling them what we're up to. We're going to hopefully have, I don't know if we'll be able to get monthly updates. As there's more to report, it's easier to have an update. So there'll be definitely an update next month after this 6th meeting. Look at our websites. The website is easy to navigate. All the information is on the website. Thanks for asking.
Okay. Anything further on that? We'll move on to the 5.6, the Gleason Library Annual Report. Councilor Priest.
Do we need to accept that for information or no? Not at this.
I don't, procedure wise, when we discuss a consent agenda item after, do we have to have a motion to accept for information? We pulled it out and discussed it.
No.
There was no motion made.
Right.
So, yeah.
Perfect. So I just noticed in the report from the Gleason Library, that last paragraph talking about that Marigold no longer provides a budget for each library to maintain or upgrade the computers and associated technology. So I think Councillor Clayton is on that board, and I know you're new to it. You've probably been to one meeting. So I just wanted to ask if you could maybe look into it, or I'm surprised that Marigold is cutting services to libraries. So I'd be curious if you knew anything about it.
Thank you. I would be pleased to look into it. And the one thing that maybe is noted, if you get all the reports from the Marigold Library, is the funding for libraries is at the same level it was, and I think in around 2015. And so the dollars that are available to operate are at that same level. So the whole province is asking the government to increase the funding for libraries from what it was to a much more current level. And maybe that's one of the reasons they can't, in the budget at the moment, do the things in Gleason, but I'll find out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further ask? No. Okay. So we'll move on to item 7 with the new 7.1, which is 7.6, Lakes of Muirfield Lagoon Project History and Update. The reason we move this forward is the consultant is here for this. So, and if this will just be a presentation, if there's discussion, we'll have to see if it has to go on camera, depending on how it goes. And Sherry will probably, our CAO will probably, interim CAO will advise us if we're stepping out of bounds in something. So, because there is a purchase agreement with some lands involved. So. Good morning.
Good morning, Council. Jose Podio Cuervo, Manager of Technical Services, here presenting the Lakes of Muirfield Lagoon Project History and Update. And then just as a note, I do have here one of our engineering consultants, Arlen. He's from SEMA, who's been around the county for a long time. So if there's any technical questions, I might bring them up and help supplement my answers. So the following provides a summary of the steps the county has taken to reach the current stage in developing the Muirfield wastewater lagoon solution. So in 2009, the Lakes of Muirfield developer, Muirfield Land Corp, signed an agreement with Rocky View County to discharge Muirfield's wastewater into a holding tank at Delroy. At that time, Plans existed to construct a lift station and wastewater force main from Delroy to the Langdon wastewater treatment plant. Under the original agreement, Muirfield Land Corps constructed a lift station at Muirfield and a wastewater main from Muirfield to Delroy, which remains in operation and is used for waste hauling today. Wastewater from Delroy was transported by tanker trucks and disposed of at the Langdon wastewater treatment facility for 6 years. The agreement between Muirfield Land Corps and Rocky View County terminated in 2015. In 2016, Lyalta Wastewater Conceptual Servicing Study completed by SEMA provided an approximate cost estimate and outlined possible wastewater servicing solutions for Muirfield. The estimated costs are presented in Table 1 below and are expressed in 2016 dollars. In 2020, Wheatland West Regional Servicing Feasibility Study completed by SEMA evaluated options for providing long-term water and wastewater servicing to the communities of Muirfield, Cheadle, and the Highway 1 Industrial Corridor. The study assessed existing infrastructure, projected service demand, and the viability and estimated costs of multiple regional servicing solutions. The wastewater servicing is the primary challenge in the study area due to the absence of receiving water bodies for treated effluent. Several options were evaluated, including the ones you see here listed below. So tying into the regional mechanical wastewater treatment plants at Carsland, Strathmore, and Langdon. And then there were local treatment options such as evaporative lagoons, regional lagoon, and agricultural irrigation. In 2021, Wheatland County assumed full responsibility for Muirfield's infrastructure and operations, including the daily trucking and hauling of approximately 3 30,000-liter trucks of wastewater from Delroy to the Carsland Lagoon. This process involved transporting over 28 million liters of wastewater annually over a one-way distance of 50 kilometers at an estimated annual cost of approximately $500,000 using contracted hauling. To reduce costs for residents, Wheatland County invested in a wastewater hauling truck and began hauling waste directly. Initial hauling costs were approximately $160,000 per year, including depreciation and driver costs. Muirfield has since grown, and the updated costs of hauling are provided later in this report. On November 9th, 2022, the Town of Strathmore Council discussed partnering with Wheatland County to complete a joint servicing study. The Town Council approved a resolution to proceed with a cost-shared joint servicing study to develop an integrated wastewater servicing solution. And then just a quick note here, the Town of Strathmore reached out and wanted us to clarify something in this report, that the regional servicing study we proposed in 2022 was for all water inclusive of water reuse and was not confined to wastewater as our report states. So we're talking about wastewater, but this report done with the Town of Strathmore also looked at water. Subsequently, on November 22nd, Wheatland County Council reviewed an RFD related to a joint study resulting in the following 2 resolutions. The council accept the joint servicing study with Strathmore as information and to direct council to communicate to the Town of Strathmore the process regarding West Side servicing strategy, whereby we'll be deciding on a short list for potential servicing strategies and a timeline around that. The 2023 West Side Servicing Study completed by McElhaney evaluated long-term water and wastewater servicing options for the communities of Muirfield, Cheadle, and West Highway 1 area. The study considered both standalone servicing solutions for each community and potential regionalized systems options. The study identified several wastewater challenges specific to the Muirfield area, including that there's no regional wastewater servicing exists for Muirfield. The area continues to rely on independent lift station collection with offsite disposal. Lack of receiving water bodies in this region severely limit lagoon discharge or traditional wastewater treatment options. And projected growth for the Muirfield area will require long-term wastewater servicing planning, likely involving regional conveyance or alternative technologies. The study evaluated 14 wastewater servicing options for Muirfield. A decision matrix was used to objectively compare all water and wastewater servicing options, incorporating both tangible costs and non-tangible factors. So tangible costs, this is just a quick outline of what was included in that, which made up 40% of the score. And then there's non-tangible factors that made up 60% of the score, and it's all outlined here. And then just talking about the scoring method there. The decision matrix provides an objective transparent method to compare diverse servicing options, identify the most cost-effective and low-risk options, support defensible long-term servicing decisions for council. The top 3 recommended options for servicing Muirfield as a standalone community are summarized in the table 2 below. And then just the entire matrix of wastewater solutions was also included in this report as an appendix. But there were 3 options here that we, just to compare apples to apples for servicing Muirfield, which is Muirfield to Strathmore, Muirfield to Dalroy to Langdon, and then Muirfield Lagoon. Grant funding and applications. In 2022, Council directed administration to pursue the Alberta Municipal Water and Wastewater Partnership, known as AMWIP, funding for the Lagoon project, and the application was submitted in November 2023 prior to the 2024 grant deadline. In March 2024, Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridors approved just over $1 million under the CPSI program for preliminary design and engineering. The county updated the project cost estimate and resubmitted the AMWIP application in summer 2024. However, the remaining requests covering land acquisition, detailed design, tendering, and construction was not approved for the 2025 fiscal year. The project remains active, and administration has renewed the grant application for AMWIP for the remaining estimated project costs for potential grant funding approval in the 2026 fiscal year. Administration submitted the grant request with a reduced total project cost of just under 17 million due to cost efficiencies associated with potential lagoon locations and discharge paths. Once the county secured the initial CPSI grant funding, administration retained CEMA to prepare a technical memo assessing potential lagoon locations. The selection of potential lagoon sites was guided by specific criteria, including parcel size, proximity to drainage channels, physical constraints such as pipelines or significant wetlands, and adherence to minimum setback distances as specified in the Alberta Environment Standards and Guidelines for Municipal Waterworks, Wastewater, and Storm Drainage System. A minimum land area of approximately 48.21 acres is required for the lagoon, which is sized to serve the full build-out of the Lakes of Muirfield development. Overall, 9 sites were evaluated. Based on the evaluation criteria, CEMA recommended that 3 of these sites be studied further, and accordingly, a land agent was retained to initiate preliminary discussions regarding these locations. So just the current status, as previously noted, administration submitted and renewed the AMWIP grant application in the fall of 2025 to fund the land purchase, engineering, construction with an updated project cost of 17 million, of which 75% is eligible for funding under the AMWIP grant program. AMWIP administrative staff have confirmed that prior engineering and land acquisition expenses exceeding the currently granted amount remain eligible, provided construction has not started before the grant is awarded. Accordingly, administration intends to defer project tendering until after the 2026 grant decision, typically issued in May of the applicable fiscal year, making a spring 2027 construction start the most likely scenario. However, if council prefers to move forward with the land purchase and project tendering prior to final notification of the grant decision, administration will fast track the project as much as possible and explore options for a 2026 construction start while still ensuring all necessary registrations and approvals are in place prior to construction tendering. Council may also choose to delay the land purchase until after notification from AT regarding the AMWIP grant award. However, this approach risks the purchase agreement expiring, as grant notification is anticipated to occur well after the current deadline for waiving conditions. Should council wish to wait to finalize the purchase agreement until after grant notification, administration would explore a further extension of the sales agreement conditions deadline. However, the landowner that administration have been working with have expressed reluctance to agree to an extension. Once the county receives notification of the grant award results from Alberta Transportation, administration will return to council with funding recommendations for the Lagoon project. If the net project costs after any grant funding exceed the available Muirfield reserves, administration will most likely recommend a long-term funding approach using capital surcharge, rate rider, debenture repayment on utility bills for all properties benefiting from the lagoon infrastructure. And then the following here is just a hauling breakdown that I worked with Cody and just comparing the cost of hauling the wastewater to the cost of a new lagoon. So administration has prepared the following cost breakdown. And tables 3, 4, and 5 below represent the equipment the county has procured over the years and the associated production rates. These values have been used to calculate the average annual cost of hauling waste to Carsland. And then just a small note here, we have also, I didn't include it in this table, but we have looked at also contracting the hauling services, and we've estimated that would cost an annual cost of contracted hauling would be about $390,000 for one unit. So just continuing on with the rest of this report, basically below is how much water is expected in Muirfield. And basically the cost of hauling against the projected wastewater produced at Muirfield. The total cost of engineering and construction for the Muirfield Lagoon is estimated to be approximately $17 million, with annual operating costs of $51,100. Some of these costs have already been incurred, as the county is currently completing preliminary engineering. Table 7 below outlines the approximate annual payment for a 30-year loan with the Government of Alberta, plus the yearly operational cost for Lagoon. This is just a quick high-level math here for the repayment, but this is the values that we're going to be using to compare the construction of a lagoon versus hauling the waste. The table below summarizes the information from the tables above to help show the cost differences between hauling waste to Carsland and constructing a wastewater lagoon. If the county is awarded the AMWIP, then the cost of the lagoon will be less than the cost of hauling the waste to Carsland. Conversely, if the county is not awarded the AMWIP, then hauling becomes more cost effective. Note that there's a limit to how many trucks the county can utilize in transporting waste from Dalroy to Carsland. So this is the table 8 here is basically the one that tells the story. If we do not get the AMWIP grant, it would cost us about $351,000 a year to take Muirfield's waste. Otherwise, it's going to cost us subsequently more and more money to haul the waste from Muirfield based on the projected growth. Next steps. Administration is currently in communication with the town of Strathmore and Rocky View County to explore the options and, if available, determine the cost of hauling wastewater to the Strathmore wastewater treatment plant and or the Langdon wastewater treatment plant, rather than to the Carsland Lagoon. The cost associated with utilizing a third-party wastewater treatment facility is not considered in the table above. So any cost that they take to us is not included in the little blue section of the table here. And then just a quick note on what was formerly known as FOIP, the Access to Information Act. There are certain things that we can't discuss here, but we can discuss in camera. And so I'll just quickly run through that. Administration has been working in accordance with the Access to Information Act, presenting all the Muirfield Lagoon information to Council in camera whenever presenting anything related to the purchase of the lands, purchase and sales agreement, or when discussing private landowner information. These in-camera sessions are in accordance with ATIA's exception to disclosure, disclosure harmful to personal privacy, disclosure harmful to individual or public safety, and disclosure harmful to economic and or other interests of a public body. That concludes my report. Myself and Arlen and Cody are here to accept any questions. I'm just going to quickly run through. There's quite a few response options that we can take with this. So I'm going to quickly run through that just so we're all on the same page. Option 1, proposed recommendation is accepted or approved, which is listed at the top of this RFD. That the proposed recommendation is not accepted, an alternate recommendation is accepted, or option 4, council accepts the Muirfield Lagoon report as information and, regarding the parcel of land currently under investigation as the proposed lagoon location, approve the purchase of the land in accordance with the purchase agreement, such as to satisfy the true conditions, and we can move forward with the Muirfield Lagoon. There's option 5A and 5B. So 5A is that council direct administration to cease all work related to the development of a lagoon as a wastewater treatment solution for Muirfield. And option 5B is that we investigate an alternative wastewater treatment solution for the Lakes of Muirfield community with a focus on utilizing mechanical wastewater treatment and to bring back a report to council. So that concludes my my report, and I'm here for any questions.
Thank you very much. Lots of information there. This has been going on for a few years, so from previous council to the new council. And I'm sure there's questions. So ask away. Go ahead.
Just, I noticed a couple of differences between the report and the chart on page 80. Let me see, hold on. The chart on page 73. Find my notes here. Yeah, it says the annual operating cost for option 11, the Muirfield to Muirfield Lagoon, says 51,100. But in the chart on page 80, it says 17 or
Through the chair, yeah. So
166,000.
something I forgot to clarify, this large chart actually incurred the operational costs over 15 years. So if you grab the operational cost and you divide it by 15, that's the annual operating cost.
So sorry, on page 80 then, that chart, when it says operating costs, you're saying that that's over 15?
15 years, yeah.
So each of those, and every option, that amount needs to be divided by 15 to get to the annual cost. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, through
That
the chair.
changes everything.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
these are really high numbers, but yeah, they wanted to do it over the entire life of whatever infrastructure we developed, and so that's how they came to that cost.
Okay, so then when it says something cost $12 million to operate, that's not right. So the very first one says the total operating cost is $12.9 million. So that's over the cost, the whole, that's Muirfield to Strathmore.
Through the chair, correct. So that one would annual cost operationally for that first option would actually be $862,046 yearly.
Okay. Okay. Changes.
Councillor Clayton first, and then if you want to, sorry, Councillor Clayton first, and then after you can, he had his hand up, sorry.
I know you guys have been doing this for quite a number of years, and I apologize for asking maybe a crazy question, but it looks like we haven't got a solution figured out yet as to what to do with the wastewater out of Merrifield that makes total sense. Are we still allowing any development permits for new housing in Merrifield? And if we are, why? Just a question.
Through the Reeve to council, yes, we are allowing up to phases 2A and 2B, which are on Muirfield Crescent, that has servicing in place, and we have the capacity to handle those new housings. There's like 160 lots still open for development permits and building permits. And then after that, there would be no further development until phase C has infrastructure developed and phase 3 hasn't even been subdivided yet. So we can handle the remaining lots that are online to be developed in phase 2A and B.
I think I understand your answer, but my curious question is, if you haven't got a solution figured out yet for even 2A expansion, why are we continuing to allow development? That's my simple question, sorry.
Through the Reeve, currently we do have the capacity for trucking the wastewater from Muirfield to the Carsland Lagoon, which is what we're doing now. Carsland Lagoon does have the capacity to actually handle its existing demand plus the full build-out of Muirfield. There has been some discussion about whether council wants to continue on that road. However, the capacity is there to both truck it and to receive it in the county's existing infrastructure. It does include trucking the waste, however, to the remote lagoons or other treatment facilities.
I can answer a little bit better. So it kind of changed. So there was a developer involved. The development got handed over to Wheatland County. So we are the developer right at the moment. So the lots that were existing and ready to go and be developed were sold. And all that money was put into a fund. So that money is available to reinvest into Muirfield, which allowed us to pay for the overlays and things like that. The wastewater problem has been there from the day the first house has been developed. Whatever reason, they were allowed to be developing homes there without a solution from day one. Right now, we did have a developer looking to finish the development, but as of a couple of weeks ago, that is no longer in place. So there's no further development there until council makes a decision to do anything else. This problem is still there. But I don't hope that answers the question. So the services, the road, the infrastructure was all there for those lots ready to go. So it made sense to sell them and get some revenue from that to reinvest back in. At least that's the way I looked at it. Councillor Kester and then Councillor Habs, I believe.
I believe when Muirfield was first conceived and built, there was a solution. County was told. We had an agreement with Rocky View County. Pipeline was built to Delroy and they were going to look after it for whatever the sum was. After a few years of Rocky View hauling it, they decided they weren't going to do it anymore. And the county or the residents had to start hauling it. If I remember right, they were paying $300 to $500 a month to haul their effluent. The owner of Muirfield gave up and turned it over to the county. The county sold some land and built up some money in a reserve. And cut a long story short, the county bought 2 trucks to haul the effluent to Carsland. And it's costing roughly $500,000 a year, I see in this report, to haul that effluent. The idea was to use the money from the reserves to pay for hauling of this effluent. And I don't know, is that still the case? Are we using that reserve money to pay to haul this effluent? That's my question.
Through the loop, currently, I do not believe that reserve fund is used for hauling waste, but okay.
I don't think there was a council motion.
Correct, no,
It is being used.
it is not.
So the county is subsidizing the residents there $500,000 a year. That wasn't the way I understood it when I voted for the county to.
They are paying us a charge on their water bill. A part of it is
Yeah, it was
partially
out of the reserve, is the way I thought it should be. The county has a hard time paying for services in other hamlets of the county. I won't name any. But we're subsidizing Muirfield $500,000 a year.
That's
it
not
was more at
entirely
one time.
true because they are paying on their utility bill, they pay a wastewater charge.
They're not paying the $500,000.
But they're not paying, they're paying a portion of that.
They're paying a part.
Similar to every other resident within Wheatland County, because the bylaw hasn't changed. It's for everybody.
I'll bet you that the costs way more for hauling sewage from Muirfield is $500,000. You see on the chart here, if it had its own lagoon, it'd only be $50,000 a year.
With the capital cost to pay for the lagoon and all that as well.
No, it operated.
Yeah.
It says operating in the chart here, 50,000. Point is, we're subsidizing. And if you can't come to an agreement on that, I would like staff to tell me, figure out how much we are subsidizing. We've got it costing us $500,000. We can look at the water bills and see how much water they're paying. And then we'll find out how much we're subsidizing. It's easy math.
I believe that was done about a year ago, but that report should be easily available again. It was council made the decision at the time to have a same rate across the county. There were several options looked at back then, but we can definitely look at it again when staff have time to bring it forward. Right now, we're discussing a lagoon option. Operations of that lagoon and the revenue for it is a different conversation. I realize it's similar because we have to pay for it somehow, but those decisions have already been made in the past. Councillor Hebbs.
So, you know, the lagoon idea, I got a few ideas or concerns. The very first one is the elephant in the room. Who owns the Serviceberry, right? Like, so we go that way and then a private entity ends up owning the Serviceberry and they charge us to discharge our water. And to think that that's not a complete possibility, I think it is. I also think that we've all heard this, and I think that I won't put words in Brad's mouth, but I believe he's heard it as well. There's going to be a landowner legal challenge that's going to tie this thing up. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. He's told us he's told us, you know, pretty much directly that he's going to tie it up in court till he dies. He's mad. He doesn't want it. The other thing that I think that, so I Google Earth the, you know, Standard, Rocky Ford, Hazard, Strathmore. I'm sorry, I don't have the list in front of me, but 6, 7, Indus, Langdon, all of those communities, it appears from Google Earth, and you know, it's not perfect, but it looks like their lagoons are within a quarter mile of the hamlet or of the hamlets or the villages. So now we're going to go 2 miles to the start of the lagoon, then pump it an additional 2 miles after that to nowhere. Like, there's no other development that way. It just seems upside down to me to go that way. And it's already if the average in the communities in Wheatland County is a quarter mile, and we're going to go 2 miles, that's 8x the distance. That's going to give the people that are opposed to it, you know, some real stroke. They're like, you know, now all of a sudden, wait a sec, for Muirfield, which we're already subsidizing, we're going to subsidize them some more. And the people that come and go in Muirfield, you know, aren't 3rd and 4th generation families that have lived there for years and years and years. You know, and then you're always going to have the concerns back from the landowners, no matter where, if you put a lagoon out in the farmland. And that argument is going to be every farmer, every acreage guy, every rancher in Wheatland County look after their own wastewater with a sewage that they dig themselves, with a, you know, with a sewage pit themselves, right? So, like, there's 3 or 4 really big ones. The landowner that's going to sue us. We don't know who owns the Serviceberry Creek, and converting farmland to sewage lagoons, which I don't agree with. Thank you.
Head Councillor Priest, Deputy Reeve.
So I think the lagoon is the only way to go. I think all the others are way too expensive from an operating standpoint. I mean, we talk about subsidizing. If we went to any of these other options, wholly, the operating cost to send this to a waste treatment center is, in my opinion, just completely unrealistic. We couldn't ever, oh my God, could you imagine our budget deliberations when we have to add in the operating costs of this kind of stuff for 2,000 residents? Like, to me, no other option makes sense. And no matter where you want to put it, somebody is going to be upset there. That is the nature of the game. I agree with Councillor Hebbs. We need to figure out whether we can, or what are the parameters around discharging into Serviceberry, and a legal opinion about what would be involved if somebody was to sue us for it. But I think it doesn't matter where it is. Somebody is going to protest. It just is what it is. But we have to find a solution that is cost effective and timely. Yes. So for me, I support the idea of this lagoon, unless you talked about there were 9 original sites and land agents were sent to 3 of them because they were the best options. Could we reevaluate the other 6 to see if there's something else that's, or are they just completely off the table? I'm curious about that.
Just on this note, through the chair, administration did prepare a separate package for council that we haven't handed out yet, that does have information about the current purchase agreement, those lands. And so we would recommend, if council wants to look at the details of that we go into camera and discuss those as camera, just discuss those in camera, just to protect the business interests of the county in this regard.
Councillor Kester.
I wasn't aware that somebody's going to sue for buying a piece of land. I don't know where that information come from. I don't even know whose land we're buying. This is always, I thought, a process for staff to find it. Now it's out there, it's public information, we're being sued, true or false. I don't know where this information's coming from. And if somebody's talking where they shouldn't be, I think we gotta be a little more professional here. Staff looks for it, makes a recommendation, costs, we vote on it. No, I'm kind of disappointed. I really am.
So there's some information that we can look at and go into camera at some point. Not necessarily right at the moment, but is there any discussion? Or because we have some stuff on the agenda, and we've also, I'm thinking if we do go in camera, we'll do it at the end of the session when we have a consultant here and we have some other people in the room for some other things. So what would council would want to hear some further information in camera? Just the nodding of the heads. Go ahead.
Yes, please.
Okay. So is there any other discussion out in the open before we can come back after in camera and have a further discussion or possible motions? I think in this situation, the more information, the better. In response to Councillor Kester, what you had said, there was some action on the ground, drilling and things like that, that the public was aware of. It doesn't take long for them to put 2 and 2 together, just so you know. It's right off a major highway. Social media being what it is, people put 2 and 2 together pretty fast. And yeah, I've received phone calls about it. There's some information here in public. It doesn't take them long to figure out what it is. So anything further before we?
To Brad, did you not discuss that had I not heard it directly from you that there was a landowner that was thinking about legal action if we went forward with that?
You can't, he doesn't have to answer that. Yeah, no, that's okay. We'll have that discussion later. So the best thing would it be to table this for now?
Through the chair, if you wish to go on to other agendas, yes, you should make a motion to table this to later in the day.
Okay. Someone want to make that motion?
Well, I'm just curious, why don't we go into camera now? I know we have other items, but we also have a consultant here for this purpose.
Would the consultant be coming into the room with that?
If council's amenable to that, Arlen was involved with the research on the parcels of land that we investigated, was directly and intimately involved with that. So if council would like him there to get information from him as well, that would be fine.
Okay, then. We can move into camera. We'll take a break and I'll move us into camera at 10. Any further discussion? All in favor? Call the question.
Just 1 second.
Sometimes we do stuff on the fly. See by your face. We'll be going in the committee room. We're still waiting for the vote to come forward, Janice. Got 5 minutes and a little bit extra to go have a bathroom break, and that's carried. We'll resume after in camera. Council, everyone, put a motion to come out of in camera. All in favor? Did it come up? And that's carried. We're gonna table item 7.6. No vote is needed on that, correct? For discussion later.
Should, through the Reeve to council, yes, you should make a tabling motion.
I'll make the motion to table the Lakes of Muirfield Lagoon project history and update for discussion later this meeting. Let's wait for it to come up. Any discussion on the motion? Just waiting for it to come up so we can call it. It's down on item 5. Motion is in front of us. I'll call the question. And that's carried. So with council's permission, we do have an 11 o'clock appointment with MLA De Jong, but she has graciously offered to let item number 7.10 Strathmore RCMP wash clerk funding agreement to go before her because of we have members in the room. Is everybody okay with that? I'm seeing nodding heads. We don't have to call a question on that. So let's please move to 7.10, the watch funding clerk agreement. And for new counselors, this is something that we've been ongoing for a while. It's been a proven success, but I'm sure they will report on that. Thank you for your patience.
Justin Valley with Protective Services at Wheatland. Here today to present the request for decision on that council approve the updated agreement with the town of Strathmore and Rocky View County to jointly fund the appointment of administrative watch clerks at the Strathmore RCMP detachment. and authorize the Reeve and the CAO to sign the agreement. This is a renewal of an existing agreement we've had in place. I think for the last 3 years, I have the existing agreement attached to it as well, and the proposed new agreement. The key points and takeaways that are different is a change to the term. The feeling of the agreement is that each sitting council every term would have a chance to vote on it, and then it would be renewed on a new term. There is a change to the financial commitment. I've included that a write-up of that change. I also have 2 members of the RCMP here today, the command staff at Strathmore Detachment, to speak to any questions that council may have regarding this decision.
Thank you. Is there any questions? Go ahead.
It's not a question, but there seems to be a additional problem for 2.1 for 2027. Our annual costs came down.
Page 177.
Yeah, 183. Oh, I'm on 180. I'm on the contract.
Yeah.
It's just a addition error.
Through the Reeve, this the table was presented. I believe I took it right out of the agreement. Is it different than the one in the agreement?
So on page 183, it shows 2026 at a value of 98. 2027
Okay.
goes down to 97. 2028 goes to 108. 2029 goes to 112. So it kind of seems something was not
Yes,
there.
I see that.
So I'll put a motion that council approve the updated agreement with the town of Strathmore and Rocky County to jointly fund the appointment of administrative watch clerks at the Strathmore RCMP detachment and authorize the Reeve and CAO to sign the agreement. And I would add that it is amended.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion on the floor? Any further questions? Go ahead.
Do we have, or is there a need for this type of staffing and an agreement with the other detachments that serve Wheatland County?
I believe that has
I
been.
don't think we currently have any, do we?
No, this is the only one that, in my knowledge, I believe I'm just trying to think back a bit from how I had looked at it. But this is coming from, I don't know if Staff Sergeant Wogosh would want to answer that a little bit. You might have more knowledge on that than I would.
I had to get you up somehow.
Appreciate that. Good morning, everyone, and appreciate the time that council's given us to speak on this topic. I might add our continued gratitude for the funding to date. To answer your questions through the CAO to the chair, for all my comments, there are no other detachments that the council is funding. In fact, this agreement is fairly unique within the division itself, with the funding agreement to provide these watch clerk positions. When it was originally presented as a pilot program, I believe in 2018, originally the assertion was this is a unique opportunity for our municipalities, that being Strathmore, Wheatland County, and Rockview County, to make an investment into the safety of our communities. And through this watch clerk program, how that investment was capitalized upon was to ensure that the administrative tasks that police officers would normally be stuck in the office doing can be taken up by support staff to maximize their visibility and presence in the communities. I think I wasn't here for the creation of the agreement, but from my understanding from my predecessors, with Strathmore holding the largest, I guess, portion of the county as far as our area of responsibility and the population base, is that it made sense to enhance our visibility and services within that service area to again, to maximize our presence in the community, to be out and around so that we could, prevent, detect, and deter crime, and to, really when you put it basically is to pay your police officers to do police work and not paperwork. So I hope this adequately answers your question. So
I guess the long and short of it is there hasn't been a request from any other departments. There's been discussion, I believe, but there has not been a request that I can recall being here.
No, there was one council meeting with a former councillor who suggested with the Gleason Detachment Commander if they could use a clerk as well. And there hasn't been any further progress or work towards that end. In the meantime, we're very thankful that we continue to benefit from this program here in Strathmore and our surrounding areas.
Thank you for the information. Any further questions? Okay, then I'll call the question. And that is carried. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you all.
So we'll move back to our 11 o'clock appointment from local MLA, Ms. Chantal Zhang. You're welcome to either sit down or be at the podium, however you want to do. You're welcome to sit. Yeah. So format, I believe you want to lay out some information for us and then we can have a Q&A after if we need. And you're welcome to stay for lunch, but it sounds like you won't be able to make it, so. Press the button until it turns green.
Check, check. Oh, it's working. Well, I remember the first time I was here, I came and visited you guys and I was so intimidated by the council chambers. So still very intimidated by you guys. So thanks for having me today. It's been a while since I've done this. I did it once after I was elected and I thought it'd be a good time to come back and touch base. Hoping to make it an annual thing. We missed a year in there, but I also want to offer my congratulations to the newly elected and returning councillors. It's the first time I've seen all of you together since the election, so my many congratulations to you all. Very exciting to see new faces here as well. Congratulations. So my hope for today was that I could review sort of what's happened over the past year, some of the different funding initiatives, what I view to be some successes for Wheatland County, where the province has stepped in to support, but also look forward to the next year. Ministers are going through budget deliberations at Treasury Board right now, and of course our budget's always tabled at the end of February. So I just want to make sure that I hear from you as a council if there are any new priorities, anything in particular you want me to focus on in my advocacy efforts for the county, and any questions you might have for me. And I think I have a couple questions for you as well. Nothing major, just to make sure that I know what's all going on in the county and how I can best serve you guys, really. So that's my hope for today. So thanks for making time. So I guess I'll start with some of the funding and what we've seen over the last year in terms of budget priorities for Wheatland. I'm going to release a video in the coming weeks that goes over some of the highlights of that because I think there's just so much happening here. There's so much going on in the county, and I'm so proud of that as an MLA to represent this portion of Wheatland. And always happy to advocate where I can. And so over the last year, we've seen a lot of support for infrastructure upgrades across the county from the province. And that was really to support the key industrial growth that's happened here. And so full kudos to this and the past council and the one prior to that, to work to bring in projects like the CQC plant and de Havilland. So on de Havilland, the engineering of that interchange over Highway 1 at Range Road 264 is underway. And I don't anticipate that it's going to be completed in time to move to tender prior to the next budget. But I also think that aligns with the construction of de Havilland field. So I think we're right on track there. We also, there was a total of $7.8 million that was invested by the province for infrastructure upgrades, and that included Township Road 2250 and 222, and that will support the truck traffic to and from the CGC's plant. So thanks for making that application. I think that's really important, and also a really good place where the county and the province can work together to support these businesses that are investing in rural Alberta. That's really important. We want to continue to see that. There was also the wildflower reservoir pumping upgrade that was approved, and that was $731,000. And then the WID received a $1.7 million for irrigation upgrades, and I think that falls into the previous fiscal as well. And then there was the $50,000 for the county study to look at increased raw water storage in the county. And maybe I'll just pause there because I'm just wondering about that study, where that's at, or like what, maybe it's too early to know, but what you foresee as an outcome of that. I know there's been a lot of talk over the years for increased storage capacity on the west side of the county. And I'm just wondering, have you set the parameters of the study yet? And what does that look like?
I would have to defer to administration on that. They're the ones that make things happen.
I can answer that. The preliminary study with that grant has been completed, and it explored the storage needs for the county for the water resiliency. The plan is the next stage of the study of actually looking at specific locations for a potential reservoir, and as part of the current budget. And that's planned to happen in 2026, and potentially even into, depending on how things turn out, into detailed design of such reservoir, possibly.
Okay, do let me know if you make another application through, I think it was a tech program that the grant was given to the county through. So let me know if you're going to be applying again for future stages of that study, because I really do believe that the water storage is critical to the east of Calgary in general. Moving on different grants, we provide a lot of support to our ag societies. And I know in rural and small communities, these are the places where people gather and people come together. And it's just such an important part of rural life. And so both the Carsland and District Ag Society and Community Association and the Strathmore District Ag Society has received significant support from us. So there was 2 grants, one that actually went to the county and one to the Carsland and District Community Association and Ag Society that totaled $250,000, and that was to boost rural economic development. And so that's really important. And then for the Strathmore District Ag Society, I'm sure you know of our amazing $5 million investment in the Western Events and Cultural Center, which to my understanding will likely be built in the county. So it's just a huge, huge investment in rural Alberta and in the county and in this entire region. So very excited about that, and excited to see progress on that project. Moving on to supports for vulnerable women and children. And this is something that is funded in Strathmore, but I know it supports a lot of Wheatland residents, and that's the True North Society. I'm sure you're very familiar with the amazing work that they do. So we funded both their transitional housing project and the ongoing work that they're doing, both in education and prevention work, and to support the women and families they see at the shelter, to a total of $3.6 million. And so that's also a huge investment. Rural shelters and rural women's crisis centers are very different than those in urban communities. They face different needs, and I know they're drawing in and supporting a huge rural area around them, probably all of the county and beyond. So that's a huge support for Wheatland residents, and they just do such amazing work. And I also had noted that through our agriculture grants, we also have supported Agriculture for Life, which does work in the county. Moving on to schools, so there's a couple schools that were supported for county residents. We're moving forward with the K-6 Westmount replacement. That's a 50-year-old building that students are in now, and we're replacing it with an expanded K-9. So we're moving forward with that. Golden Hills Division pulls in students from the county. And then, of course, there was the opening of the brand new K-12 charter school, the Rural Route Agriculture Academy, which I had the chance to be there at the ribbon cutting, and it is just such a neat place. If you haven't visited it already, it is just so cool. And just seeing kids interact with the animals and with the land in that way is really exciting. And I think that supports rural communities in the long run and helps kids get excited about agriculture, which is very important to the county. On healthcare, we had a great event in the summer with two of the parliamentary secretaries on the health file, where we toured the Strathmore Hospital. We met with doctors that see patients, county patients, and we had a full day of stakeholder meetings with both town and county residents to talk about what their healthcare priorities are, how we can better support residents of this region. And there were a lot of great takeaways there and some great improvements since then. And county residents are going to see an improvement and will have been seeing an improvement in their access to primary care already, because we welcomed 3 new doctors to the town this year and a new clinic, and another new clinic is going to open early next year. So I know county residents are going into the town for their healthcare needs. That's their hub. And so that'll be a huge help to county residents as well. And finally, just in terms of updates, I'll mention on the province's negotiations and contract with de Havilland that everything's on track. Negotiations are going well. The ministry is going to Treasury Board any day now, and those conversations will continue. There will be an announcement soon, and so just wanted to let you know that everything's on track there. All right, I had also noted down a few questions, but maybe I'll just pause there if any of you have any questions on anything I just said, or wish something was included that isn't, or anything.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any questions for our MLA?
Anyone?
Go ahead,
Um,
Mr. Bayer.
Thank you for coming to see us. There was mention at RMA about the border changes. Has there been anything, so some of us might lose you in one of the proposals? How far is it in the legislation so far?
So it's the Electoral District Commission released a draft which cut all of Wheatland out from my constituency, which is very sad, and I don't like that. It's just a draft, so they're still accepting written submissions until Thursday from anyone in both the position as a resident and or as a counselor if you have opinions on it. And so they will accept written submissions until Thursday, and then early in the new year they're going to be hosting more in-person sessions. So I definitely do want to retain the part of Wheatland that I represent, if you'll have me. And I think we've done a lot of great work together, but it hasn't hit the legislative floor yet. So they'll, based on all the submissions that they've received between the draft release and Thursday, and then the New Year in-person meetings, they'll come up with a second and final proposal, and then that'll come to the legislature during our spring session. And then if the members of the legislature approve, they'll vote on it and pass it in the spring session or not support it. So yeah, that'll all happen during our spring session. So nothing will be finalized until, next spring's early summer.
Thanks. Go ahead, Councillor Hibbs.
Thanks for coming, Chantel. Just a couple questions on the Wheatland or the Westmount School K-9. Do we have a location and do we have an approximate timeline, please? Thank you.
The location will be where the current school is. So my understanding is from last I talked to the Golden Hills and the town is that they want to build it on the same property, and then there'll be some shuffling of, where the school is and where the outdoor recreation facilities are, but it's going to be on the same property is my understanding. Timeline. So they're just finalizing some things between the school division and the town. And then hopefully we should have an update, in the coming months, because now with the school accelerator program, there's no waiting between phases. So once planning is done and then once design and engineering is done, projects are automatically advanced to the next phase. This is part of our $8.6 billion investment in school builds across the province. And that's a huge investment. That's generational. That'll build and modernize 130 new schools in the province. So it's absolutely huge, the school build out that we're doing, and Westmount will benefit from that as well. And so basically as soon as the school division is ready for the next funding bucket from the province, they'll receive it.
Thank you.
On the Westmount one, there was a recreation component that I've heard rumors about, a large recreation component to that. Does that have a deadline for the build?
As in like a new arena attached to the school?
Yeah.
I did hear that as well, and I think that's part of what's still being worked out with the division and the town. So I haven't heard what the final plan is yet, but I know that's definitely something that was on the table.
How long do they have to figure that out?
We don't have a mandated timeline or a deadline for them. So in the past, they would submit, well, and still I guess now, they submit their capital priorities to us at the end of every year, I think around November. And because they haven't engineered it yet, they wouldn't be making any sort of capital asks. And because of that school accelerator change, now they can make changes between phases mid-year. So there's really no deadline that the province puts on them to move ahead. I mean, certainly community members are going to want to see this project expedited because it is desperately needed. And I see that as well. So I'll be connecting with the town in the new year to ask them where those discussions are at. Yeah.
Thank you. One more thing, and I'm not sure if you answer this or Health answers it, but there is a large build going on in Strathmore. They broke ground recently, and that's at Shasta Healthcare. And I'm not sure if that's Health or yourself or how much knowledge you have about that.
That would be Minister Nixon's file, which is a health file. So yeah, they are hoping to open their doors in either 2026 or early 2027. And I'm trying to recall the number of beds off the top of my head. I think it's 96 long-term care, 36 supportive living, and 6 hospice spaces that are part of that build. And they have a long-term funding agreement with AHS for operational funding, no capital funding, but it's fully funded through AHS. So, and I think those are the right numbers. I can confirm, but yeah, I think it's 96 plus 36 plus 6.
Thank you. I would find it be very helpful if we could get some information on the hospice part of it. There's a lot of people like obviously there's a group that's here that's fundraised for years, which is fantastic. But I talk to people and they think there's going to be a charge for the hospice, and I've talked to the operator and says, no, there's not. But if health could come and update us on how this will actually play out, because we're getting pulled in lots of different directions as local counselors. And ultimately, just through our new Muni 101s, health is not really in our purview. So it would be really helpful if someone would explain to us where our lane is. I don't know if you can get some pull or get someone down here to do that and explain how Shasta, because there's a different levels of care, absolutely, from a retirement, your initial retirement and your basic level all the way up. And a lot of people don't understand that. And it would be great to hear it from the people that actually control it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. And I can talk to my colleagues and see if we can send someone from the department here. I know on the lodge side, you've made some great connections with Assistant Deputy Minister Williams, and he's been able to come to the county and meet with the housing management body as well to talk about some of that. But absolutely, when it comes to different levels of care, looping in someone from the AHS side, I can see that being really beneficial. So I'll follow up with you on that and see if we can arrange a meeting of sorts.
Yeah, my understanding, ultimately, some of it's not our purview, and they need to say where we start, where they end. That kind of thing would help a lot for the communities out here. There's a lot of information that we're kind of not fighting, but answering questions that, we don't have the expertise to answer. So it would help out a lot.
Yeah. Okay, that's a great point. I'll work on making that happen.
What else?
I guess I have one.
Go ahead.
So just following up on your comments about de Havilland, you said that they've been negotiating with the province, and I'm just curious what hurdles, what is the process from this point till when they break ground? What kinds of things are you talking about?
The negotiations are not so much on the construction of de Havilland Field. I don't know actually what I should say or not say, but it's more so like a purchase agreement. But basically they're going to Treasury Board, and then there will be a budget announcement. It's basically the process between then and now.
Thank you. I appreciate it's sensitive, but I hear lots of people wondering what's being held up, or and I'm just curious what the process is from once they have approval for do they have a federal approval for their landing strip and all of that stuff? Do you know?
Last I talked with them was just after the Stampede, and so this summer, and they didn't raise any flags with me on any regulatory holdups.
I don't know if an administration could speak to what they're currently doing. Like, they are stripping and grading the runway right as we speak. They had a crew out there last week, and they are permitting one building, I believe, in 2026 that we know of.
Through the Reeve to council, that's correct. They have started stripping some topsoil this fall, but will hold off for major earthworks for the runway in spring of 2026, preparing for a large storage temporary use for some of the shipping containers that need climate control at the end of the runway, which will then eventually be used for a hangar. And all of that is slated for 2026. And then we should start to see an overall site plan for the next 4 buildings that they're proposing to start construction on.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Very quiet. Anything else you'd want to say?
I have some questions for you guys, if you don't mind. First is just about a fire response. And so this was something that was a bit of a learning curve for me, when I was learning about how response to motor vehicle collisions are allocated. And I understand that there was a change that was recently made between county fire and town fire. And I was just wondering what sort of happened there, if I could get an update, please.
Through the Reeve to council, and there was an agreement, and there is a fire district map. And so there is a portion where Wheatland West should be called first, and then portions of the highway where Town of Strathmore are called. But there are certain types of levels of service that would require the Town of Strathmore to respond. But there was a time where the town was responding beyond what the protocol required. And so there were discussions between the fire chiefs to go back to the original mutual aid agreement of who was responding to which motor vehicle collision. So it was something that they went back to the original agreement.
Okay. My last point that I had here was actually about Invest Alberta. So I think I'm going to be bringing in Invest Alberta to the constituency at some point in the spring when the weather warms up just a touch, and have them come in, talk with municipal leaders about how they can support you. Now, obviously, Wheatland County is already on the map as an investment hub, and I know you have great connections with the Invest Alberta team already, and you've been working closely with them on a number of investments that you've landed. So thank you for doing that. So they're starting this. It's not a new initiative. It's sort of building on what they already have, but it just helps them showcase different communities in their offices abroad around the world, and bring in just sort of build that investment value proposition in their global offices. And so they have a few different, I guess they're like forms that they have asked if municipalities are interested in sort of having their area better showcased, if they would fill out. Now, I know that JEDI has a community portfolio on their website. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's an amazing tool. And I know Wheatland has contributed a lot of information to that. So really helpful for investors looking to come to rural Alberta. But they also, Invest Alberta does have a specific community profile and a business case template that I'm not sure if Wheatland has filled out already, but I'll follow up with an email and just include them, because it's just another tool that they can use to gain information on what your priorities are, what you have to offer to better showcase the area. So the community profile template, it's used to record high-level investment attraction information, and then the business case template is to record specific and focused investment-ready opportunities that might be in the county. So I just wanted to flag this as an opportunity. Maybe it's something you've already done, but I love to see the county grow and continue to attract amazing investments, and this might help.
I had met with a representative from Invest Alberta last Friday, just briefly introduction. So yeah, there's ongoing conversations, but definitely come to council. He hadn't mentioned that, but that's great.
Perfect. All right, I'll follow up with an email with the forms and let you know when we're able to schedule an in-person discussion with them in the new year here in the constituency. Wow, that was so easy. That was all the questions I had.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Kester.
Hi, Minister. If you were not busy on January the 6th at 6 o'clock at the Strathmore Municipal Building, Wheatland Housing Management Body sent an invitation out to all the area councillors to meet with our consultants and going over the application for AHPP funding with the deadline of January 31st, I believe. So that's when the municipalities are going to find out what the numbers are, and we're going to talk as a group. And yeah, being in your area, that you're more than welcome to come and witness the process. Yeah. If you have any help, that would be great too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll take a look at the schedule. I appreciate the invitation. Is there going to be someone from the department there, like ADM Williams, or is it just like the board's consultant presenting the
board's
numbers?
consultants for now. I've never thought of having like David Williams there or somebody, but it's Derek Weiss. I'm thinking is in communication with them. And M3, not so much so. I think the conduit's Derek Weiss. And he'll definitely be there, and M3 will be there. And I don't know if Eagle or any of their other partners will be there too, but definitely M3 and Derek Wise. And I'll float that idea out to Derek if you think that would be good to have our housing representatives there, or even David Williams. That would be great.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not the best venue for the ADM. I actually have no clue if it's a good or not, but just thought if he was there, that's good to know.
Last time we submitted, we weren't allowed to talk to anybody in the department in between start and finish. So I don't know if that's the same rules.
Probably then. Yeah, I didn't know about that rule, but yeah, I would assume it would be in effect for this intake as well.
If it was just that department, I don't think it covered all ML.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't cover me for sure. So I'll check my schedule and I'll let you know.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Counselor.
I think there was an anti-lobbying thing in that, that I saw in that intake that basically didn't specify where. It said once it's in, you let it ride, basically. Put your chips in and let it go. So
Just following on that, I do find that very frustrating that there's not more communication, though. I understand the anti-lobbying for sure, that you wouldn't want ministers or ADMs involved when you're submitting an application and that kind of thing. But once it gets decided, I feel like there should be more transparency about why. I mean, this board has submitted a number of times, and maybe they've had some reasons why, but I don't really think so. So I find it very frustrating that you continually apply for grant funding and then never really get a great idea of why you haven't been awarded it. I think some clarity would be really helpful.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I don't know what response the applicants get back when their application is approved or not, and how much detail that response goes into. That I'm not sure. If there's a lack of clarity or detail on the responses, then your point is taken, and I'll talk to the ministry about it. I know it's just it's a needs assessment, really. They're going to consider community need, vacancy rate, physical condition when they're considering a new or modernized lodge project. So, it's very much this objective needs assessment that they do based on those factors. So if there was something specific, I would have thought they would have mentioned in their response. Maybe Councillor Kester knows the answer to that. But if there is a lack of information, totally great suggestion. I'll bring it forward to the ministry.
go ahead, Councillor Kester.
Yeah, we Erica Washington, I think sometimes we debrief with her, and it's always been the same thing, run out of money. They don't have enough funds in the pot. And I share Councillor Priest's frustration too. We're competing for $500 million in funds, and there's only 60 million in the pot. It would be nicer if, well, maybe you should wait till we got more money, or this would be our fourth time applying for the same program. And we keep spending money trying to upgrade it. And then the next call comes and we have to spend more money to polish it up. Some get current numbers. It just seems like all we're doing is studying. Yeah, we get told we got a strong application and it's in the queue for next application. They don't take it out, but we can add to it. So that's what we're doing now. That's what we'll do on the 6th. They're gonna add current numbers and new letters of support. I don't know if you can think of something else we can be adding. I'd certainly appreciate it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no expert on the application process, but I would expect that anything that is written down as an application requirement is sufficient. On strength of application, I don't think that overweighs a needs assessment. So, if they have said you have a strong application, I believe it. And the department has just assessed that there are other areas of higher need. I would love the provincial coffers to be overflowing with money too, so I can start writing checks. Kidding, I don't write any checks, but yeah, it's, they're working within their fiscal restraints that they have as well. As a province, we do have, a 6 point something and growing billion-dollar deficit. As a fiscal conservative, I really don't like seeing that. So they're also working with the fiscal constraints that they have. But I do take your point on having more detail. I can certainly imagine how applying for the fourth time is frustrating. And maybe there's a way where once a project has been submitted and they've said this is a strong application, you've met all the application requirements here, we keep it in the queue as they move down the needs assessment list, so communities and organizations don't have to continually reapply every time. So maybe that's also a suggestion I make to them. But I definitely will take your point away, and yeah, I'll let you know what they say to that.
Okay, yeah, they say much the same thing. It's there. I think one thing that would help, Canada Census is every 4 years, or so we did our last needs assessment to 16, then we redated it in 2021. So now the next one's this year, next year. So there's a long space. So the same numbers, right? But yeah, that's just where we're caught.
Deputy Reeve LaPriest and then Councillor Larson, sorry.
So I don't know how much you know exactly about all this whole file, but you talked about the modernization versus the AHPP grants. And I know Vulcan County had an AHPP grant in, and that was denied, but then they received money for modernization. Like what changed for them that they were able to access this other money? Do you know about that? Do you have any idea? Yeah, okay.
No, sorry, I don't know anything about Vulcan.
Oh, I understand. It's not in your area, but I just wondered if you knew what the program parameters are around modernization versus affordable housing program.
Okay.
I can look into it. Yeah.
Councillor Larson.
One other thing I can tell you about the application process is I talked to, when Wheatland Housing Management Body was refused, I talked to 2 other housing management bodies that were in the same position as us, and they got told word for word the exact same thing. Oh, you have a strong application, you have, like, it was literally verbatim. Because I talked to them, soon enough after we were denied, that I still had it all in my head. But it was literally word for word. We were told the same thing, just so you know.
Yeah, and it could very well be that it is the same reason, like a strong application, but other projects seem to be higher from a needs assessment perspective. But I've made some notes here on I'm going to go back to the department and share this feedback with them, and hopefully.
And I wouldn't even disagree with you there. But when you hear the same thing word for word, it's like somebody's reading off a script.
Yeah, I know for other grant programs, when applicants get rejected, it is the same initial letter. So maybe yeah, they probably do use the same letter. That would make sense to me. But yeah, certainly if the applicant is looking for more information, I would hope they would provide it.
For sure.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? I've been told lunch is here, so not that we want to push you out. You're welcome to stay, but go ahead if you want.
I'm not sure whether I should say anything or not, but much appreciate you coming. And one of the things that always makes me wonder is that we are trying to promote more investment in the area, get more businesses coming in. And the thing that brings is a lot more people to the facilities that we already have. And we're always behind the 8 ball in getting the facilities built to handle the people that are coming in. And this is, again, back to the application for something we already know we need. And in this area, the influx of people has been huge, and it will continue to be so if we are successful in getting more investment. So we need an ability to look forward as to the requirements of infrastructure and all that kind of stuff to handle it. Just thanks.
I agree 1000%. I feel like a lot of my job is just playing catch up on infrastructure to the east of Calgary. This whole region is growing like crazy. I think Chestermere is the fastest or second fastest growing municipality in the province, and Wheatland is just seeing a huge boon in investment. So thanks to the work of the county. And so absolutely, I totally agree with you. We should be building infrastructure in preparation for growth. That has not happened. The province has seen a huge influx of migrants from across Canada moving here and internationally. And that Alberta's Calling campaign really worked, and a lot of people showed up, and we're feeling that in our schools quite acutely, feeling it in the healthcare system. And I know with these communities to the east of Calgary, we're feeling that on our roads. And so that has been my number one focus, is how do we see support for the pressures in the system that we're feeling. So that's been my focus since day one. So great comments. I completely agree.
Well, not seeing any other questions. Thank you very much for, do you have any final?
Just thank you for all the work you do. So I'm really looking forward to 2026 and to working together, and hope to make this a more regular thing, just so we can stay on the same page and focus our advocacy efforts together. And yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate all that you do, and to administration as well. Thank you to all that you do to keep the wheels turning. And I wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
And behalf of council and staff, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and bless your family as well. And you're welcome here anytime. It's not very far away. You know that. I'm just a text away and we can arrange something. So it's good information back and forth. We're all working together to solve the same problems, just different levels. So thank you again. You're welcome to stay for lunch. Yeah. And with that, there's a motion to accept as information from someone.
Also move.
Thank you. Wait for that to come up. Did you send it out? Anybody else see it? Oh, call the question. My apologies. That's my fault. That's carried. We'll break for lunch. How long do we want to have? 45 minutes? 45 minutes sounds good. Back, everyone. It's resuming council meeting 12:45. We're moving on to new business. Item 7.1, Room Municipalities Alberta request for representation. Do you want me to speak to this? I can. Oh, do you want me to speak to the RMA letter that I got forward? I can do it.
Through the Reeve Council, no, I was asking to repeat it, but I can speak to it.
Okay.
So RMA sent a letter for putting together a working group to do agribusiness and agritourism. And they're looking for the municipality and a deadline of December 19th to submit names that would participate in this working group. And so we weren't sure. They provided the terms of reference if any elected officials would like to participate. And as far as from administration, we were going to work with Brad Bullock's group to put together the most suitable person on the administrative side to participate in this working group.
I'll follow up. The letter was sent to myself. I'd sent it to the chair of ag, but with the timeline here. So they've chosen 2 other municipalities, rural municipalities to represent. We were chosen as one of them. I phoned up there to find out exactly what they're asking. And they said it can be the Reeve or an appointed member. So council's wishes.
I'm curious, sorry, you said they sent this out to 2 other municipalities? Is one, pardon? 2.
Yeah. It's in the terms of reference. I can't remember the exact 2.
No, I see that they want 3, but did they send it to everybody or did they?
No, they chose 3.
Okay.
Just one.
Do you know who they are?
I think one was, I can't recall. I think one was Cypress.
So I know they quote RMA Resolution 823S, which was put forward by Sturgeon County. I hope they were included.
I would imagine.
It's their resolution. But you don't.
It seemed,
not sure about that?
very short timeline. I tried several phone calls to get as much information as I could. So I basically was asking, are you looking for representation from the Reeve or are you looking for a member of council? And they said some of them have gone back and taken it to their council. And I said, well, I can do that for sure. This will impact, so they're not paying for us to go. It's on our dime to go, just so you know. And it gives all the information here. On one hand, I'm really happy that they've chose us. But want to know who wants to do it. Or if you want me to do it. I have very little committee work, so I can do it, but it's up to council. Someone want to make a motion or more further discussion? The information's there.
I don't know, as the chair of the ASB, I do see that there's value there, but I don't know if I'm that involved on the agritourism part of things. Like I don't have a lot of contacts tourism wise. I don't know.
I feel.
Sorry, that's definitely my wheelhouse, but I'm really too busy. So, but if I was going to say, if you're going to take it on, I would sure get you some information through agritourism or help you in any way, or I'm not sure what they're looking for, but I definitely can help in that area.
Well, it's like they're populating the board with industry as well. So some of it, and so go and see how it is. And if it's actually produces results for the area and it's practical for sure, but I'm not one about, if I feel like it's worthwhile, I'd do it. But if it's not, I definitely report back to you guys that it isn't. So on one hand, it's great that they're asking us. On the other hand, it's an unknown. So
I see it's a very fast turnaround. I mean, they want to have a report done by July. So,
yeah,
it's not like you're going to be in there for.
It'd probably be mostly remote too. So.
Yeah. Through the Reeve Council, we do support in our policy documents agribusiness and agritourism, and so we can provide that support. And Mr. Bullock has someone, I believe, in the agricultural side that they would recommend to be on this committee, and then the planning and development would provide support on policy support and all of the economic development strategies we have for business and the tourism portion.
So just a question on that then. They're asking for 3 rural municipal representation. Could that be a staff member?
They're looking for staff and elected official. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Okay.
So they're looking for 3 representatives, which are members of RMA, which should be rural people, and then Alberta Jobs and Economy and Immigration, Alberta Agricultural, Tourism. So there'll be some you know, the brains in the room, so to speak.
Being with Canadian Badlands and like with Aspen, there's lots of stuff that I always wanted to see change, so I can go over those with you and
Mhm.
and then you can voice them, but I definitely, that's my busy time, so.
Oh, for sure. I honestly thought you'd probably be the best person for the job, but understanding that it's very busy, so. Because it is tourism, it is agricultural. So council's wishes, if you want someone to go, put a motion forward so we have it on the books because there'll be an expense.
I move that we send Reeve Clausen to this committee.
Thank you. Any discussion? It's pretty well laid out. All the terms of references are there. I will report back to council as much as I can on what's going on and hopefully it will produce results for our area or give us some training with our upcoming events in agriculture. Would might be able to help too. Get some insight on that with our tour. So might be some insights on there. Any other discussion? Any? Not seeing any. I'll call the question. That's carried. Thank you. Item 7.2, council resolution tracker.
Good afternoon, Council. Share bears with administration. The resolution tracker is found on page 46 of the agenda package. And it provides an overview of the resolutions from previous meetings. The ones highlighted in green have been completed and the resolutions highlighted in yellow are still outstanding. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions on the information in front of us? Go ahead.
I just thought that, I don't know, it's third from the top, it was the WRC. We finished the contract. We finished that all off. Should that maybe have been off there? Or what's still outstanding on that? WRC,
Wheatland Regional Corporation.
August 16th.
Through the chair, yeah, there was the governance review that the county funded. That is still existing. I believe the WRC does reference that from time to time. The county does work with the WRC, but really just more as a supplier of water for Gleason and Rosebud. We don't get heavily involved in their operations. This was one that came back to council, I believe, last year, of a question of whether we wanted to keep it on the resolution tracker or not. Might have been 2 years ago. Council did decide to keep it on at that time, but it's of course up to council if they want to rescind the resolution and remove it.
I'm not on that committee, but I can't see it. It's going to help being on the tracker.
I would think if there's some on here that we are thinking that we want to review and maybe disband or that we should put some information to staff so they can bring it back at the next meeting with a little background information so we can make a decision or an educated decision. Go ahead.
Mr. Reeve, I look at this tracker and I look at the first one that's on there and say, why is it there? It's been there since COVID-19. It has no action, I don't see even why it's there. I just kind of wonder why things aren't maybe a little more updated. If it's just a question.
So I can speak to each one of those has a resolution that we keep. So this is council motions.
Yeah.
To go forward. So what I'm suggesting is with especially a new council and there is a sum here, they're fairly outstanding. Why don't each of us take and look through and give some of them that we want to give to administration, give them some chance to digest it, bring it back to us. Because each one of these has a little bit of information attached to them as to why it's there.
Yeah.
So does that sound fair? So if I can task council with that and before next council meeting, just send an email to staff about what you'd like to see I don't think we-
Possibly rescinded is what we're.
Possibly
You
res-
have
yeah.
to rescind them. You can't just have them removed. You have
yeah.
to formally. Yeah.
Or we can deem them complete, right? Not necessarily rescind, but we complete. Yeah, yeah. So if there's some, definitely send an email to our GM, our CAO about that, and then we can go from there. Does that sound fair to everybody?
Yep.
Okay. So motion to accept.
I'll move that council accept the council resolution tracker dated December 16th, 2025 as information.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Any discussion? I'll call the question. And that's carried. 7.3, Division 5 Open House Rescheduling.
Good afternoon, Sherry Bars again. I'll be going over the next few items on the agenda. And I'm here today to seek council's approval to reschedule the Division 5 open house to January 13th, 2026. The hall is unavailable on the originally approved date of January 14th. However, administration is able to secure Tuesday, January 13th as an alternative date. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Council's wishes.
I'll move that council reschedule the Division 5 open house for January 13, 2026 at 7 p.m.
Thank you. You caught the error on there too. Motions on the floor. Any discussion? I'll bring forward that they had some trouble with the mic system in there recently. They're working on it. So I don't know if we bring our own, but just something that we might have to test beforehand. So I know.
Yeah, through the chair, we're looking at getting mics that we can use anywhere because there could be a hall that doesn't have that. So we're looking at actually having a few mics that we can bring with us in this sort of cases.
Well, at the meeting last night, they were talking about, there is a system there. It's just someone pulled all the wires out and changed everything. They're getting someone in to fix it. It's about 20 years old. It does work really good when it's all set up, but they're looking at, so if we have our own, that'd be good, or just work with, I can put you in contact with people there to make sure it's good or whatever. So, motions on the floor. Any further discussion? Call the question. And that's carried. 7.4, letter to Minister Williams.
As directed by council, administration has drafted a letter to the Minister of Municipal Affairs outlining concerns regarding the Land and Property Rights Tribunal processes. The draft letter is included on page 64 for council's review and approval. If approved, administration will finalize the letter and forward it to Minister Williams. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Letters in the package. Go ahead.
Just a general comment. I'm on the Surface Rights Board in the county. And one of the things we've asked these people to do is to put a landowner on the committee, which is kind of outside their reasoning at the moment. So if that is something that you want to put in your letter as well, it would support what we're trying to do.
From a letter coming from council, I don't know how well that would work because we are, when it comes to, how would I put it? Yeah.
I think it'd be like a contradicting to what the letter is saying, because you're saying that you want elected officials on there. And then we're going to say, well, no, we want someone that's not elected either. I don't know, just my thought.
Well, this is our letter, so if it's not good right at the moment, we can definitely redraft it. It's nothing, there's nothing timely here.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get in the road of what we're trying to do as a council, that's for sure. I just, one of the major problems with this whole board, the RPT, is that the landowners aren't represented and they're hammering the heck out of the landowner. And because they're left with holding the bag. That's why I said it, yeah.
Go ahead.
You know, Counselor Clayton, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, they're just kind of a shadowy board that comes behind a screen and they don't have to meet anybody. And like, I just, you have to have an appeal process. I believe strongly in that as well. But the way this particular one is designed, I'm very uncomfortable with. I agree with you.
So what I'm looking for is this letter adequate from council? And if so, someone put a motion forward to move it forward.
I'll move that we authorize the Reeve to sign the letter to Minister Williams regarding LPRT processes.
Thank you very much. Motion's on the floor. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. Call the question. That's carried. 7.5, another letter to Minister Williams.
Hello again, as directed by council, administration has drafted a letter to the Minister of Municipal Affairs outlining concerns regarding returning officer responsibilities related to candidate nomination submissions. The draft letter is included in the package on page 69 for council's review and approval. If approved, administration will finalize the letter and forward it to Minister Williams. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Again, the letters in the package. Are we okay with it? Is there any changes?
I move that the council authorize the Reeve to sign the letter to Minister Williams regarding returning officer responsibility.
Thank you. Motion on the floor from Councillor Clayton. Any discussion? Not seeing any. I'll call the question. That's carried. We're going to the original 7.6, so I'll lift the discussion from the table for the Lakes of Muirfield Lagoon project history and update. We had an initial presentation. Council's had a chance to have an in-camera. So what staff are looking for now is if there's any further open council questions and possible.
Just a motion to lift it for council as a
Okay,
resolution to
so-
lift it from the table.
I'll make the motion to lift this item 7.6 Lakes of Muirfield Lagoon project history and update off the table. Just waiting for it to be typed out. Perfect. Motion to lift agenda item 7.1 from the table is in front of us. Any discussion? Call the question. And that's carried. So council, again, we've had a presentation, an in-camera. So what administration is looking for, we have one of 5 possible motions in front of us in the package. If there's any further questions or is any further information you'd want to share with us before we go down the road.
Through the chair, no, there's no additional information other than what we've already discussed.
There's no further information, yes. Council's wishes. Go ahead.
I think we should go with option 5B.
5B, sorry, what page is that on again? I lost it here.
That council directs administration to investigate alternative wastewater treatment solutions for the Lakes of Muirfield community with a primary focus on options that utilize mechanical wastewater treatment and report back to council.
So a motion on the floor for option 5B as read. Council's discussion. Well, you've got a motion on the floor now, so we have to deal with that. Yeah.
So I'd be opposed to that. I just see that any mechanical wastewater treatment is going to be far too expensive for 2,100 residents. You can't spread that cost over that many residents. It's just impossible.
Any other discussion? Go ahead.
I can support that motion.
Any other discussion? Go ahead.
We've been down this road before. I realize not all the counselors have. But I believe it's too costly. But not any more costly than the delaying. We've been at this since 2009, haven't done nothing, and it's cost increased too. So no, I'm more on a let's do something basis now, so I can't support 5B.
I feel the same. I can't support it. Especially, it's the distance too that we have to worry about. That hasn't even been thought yet. So yeah, I'm sorry, I won't be able to support it.
Any further discussion before I call the question? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the question. That is lost. Other motions possible.
Not that I want to kick this can down the road anymore, but I'm going to propose resolution number 2, that council directs administration to return at a future date for consideration of final approval of the land purchase, which, if granted, will satisfy the applicable portion of the purchaser's true conditions precedent in the purchase agreement for the subject land. I think this will give possible opportunity to receive grant funding, or at least an agreement that will help us line up a grant with the costs that we're going to start to incur.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Questions, discussions? Go ahead.
Just a question to administration. Can you do resolution 2 without resolution 1?
Through the chair, administration can. Resolution 1 would give clear direction to administration to continue on with the process of removing the existing conditions. Resolution 2 does deal specifically with the land purchase resolution required from council related to the purchaser's true condition precedent. So they do kind of deal with separate things. That resolution would be required before administration could go through with the land purchase. However, yeah, resolution 1 does give administration direction of whether council wants us to proceed with the rest of it as well.
Sorry, I didn't realize they kind of go hand in hand. Maybe I'll rescind that first motion and start with resolution number 1. I don't know how to handle this, to be honest. Yes, that's a good idea. Yep. All right, I'm going to withdraw my previous motion and instead move that council accepts the Muirfield Lagoon report as information and directs administration with respect to the parcel of land under investigation as the proposed lagoon location to undertake all remaining work necessary to fulfill the purchaser's conditions outlined in the purchase agreement.
Motion on the floor. Discussion. Seeing and hearing none. Go ahead. And no, if you want to back it up, no.
No, I was just going to say, I do feel like we need to move forward. It has been going on for years and years and years. And administration has done an amazing job of like identifying 16 or whatever different options. Honestly, most of them are not possible. And so I feel like we have to take a step forward here.
Anyone else? Keith, go ahead.
Just a question. The one thing about proceeding with the purchasing of the land doesn't tie you into finishing off the project as fully stated with all the lagoons and all that kind of stuff. It just says that you have a place to proceed if that is the final decision, and you can always sell the land if that's not what you end up doing, right? Just a question.
Understanding would be that you would have to give back any grant money if it doesn't get used for this purpose, but yes.
Go ahead.
I just think we're right back at it, but there's the other side of the coin. We've been doing this since '09 and have been able to, right? All of a sudden, you know, yeah, it's in front of us, but as we've said, you know, yeah, and we appreciate staff's work on this, but, you know, maybe there is some other options that have been identified, so I can't support this.
Any further discussion before I call the question? Not seeing any, I will call the question. And that's lost. Council's wishes.
I will move the second one just to keep us in the going forward. That council directs administration to return at a future date for consideration of final approval of the land purchase, which, if granted, will satisfy the applicant portion of the purchaser's two conditions, the conditions present in the purchase agreement for the subject land.
Thank you. Will that, we had a previous discussion that one motion doesn't dovetail on the other. Will this give any direction?
We can bring this back. We would have to bring it back anyway. I should have probably clarified a little bit further earlier too. So as we discussed before, there's two sets of conditions within the purchase agreement. One is looking at the site, just verifying that it is essentially the engineering side of things to make sure the site is acceptable for the lagoon. Most of that study is done, and the indication is that it is. We are waiting on some final verification of the soils based on some actually in situ drilling that was done recently. So, but based on preliminary findings, it looks like the site itself is amenable to the lagoon. Of course, we are just waiting for those results. The other set of conditions in the purchase agreement is related to council's approval, some of the land use changes that are required. And so there are two things. I guess with this resolution, it still leaves administration a little bit unsure of whether or not we proceed with the work to for all of the other conditions aside from council approving the actual purchase agreement, if that makes sense. So we can continue to proceed, or we can not proceed and then just come back again and ask council again about the land purchase agreement. But yeah, I think you kind of read what I'm saying.
I heard council say they want you to stop. That's what I heard. It's really unfortunate.
On that note, we will bring it back per the other direction of the resolution and go from there about the land purchase agreement.
We still should have a motion to direct staff, because right now the existing motion, other than, we have two options are off the table.
There's a motion on the floor.
There. Yes. Sorry, just getting back. Okay. Motion number 5 from Councillor Hebbs. That council directs administration to investigate. Oh, no, that one defeated. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yep. Right, motions on the floor. Any further discussion? I'll call the, oh, go ahead.
We have to start doing something. When I first got on council, piece of land very close to that area for Bruce Lakes, We're all told to secrecy because we were offering a horrendous sum of Monday. $3,000 an acre. Time is money. That's not even 20 years ago. What's another 5 years? This is costing the county money. Studies, not moving. Time is money. Yeah, if you want to look at it some more, go right ahead, but I'm not in favor of looking more. I'm in favor of let's doing something. We're all scared to move forward because it's somebody won't like it or cost is too much or there's another solution. These are what we're looking at is time and tested solutions that have been in the country for 100 years. We're not going to get cheaper. But if that's the will of council, yeah, I won't fight you or anything on it, but strongly consider doing something. We got people complaining that we're not doing something. We got people complaining we're hauling it to the wrong spot. Everybody's complaining. Even me.
And yeah.
Any further discussion? Go ahead.
To follow on that, I do think that if we're not going to do anything, then we should stop development there.
Motions on the floor. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
I got to admit that I'm at the point where I'm confused about why we have to stop doing anything. I know I'm new to hearing everything, but there is solutions that were discussed in camera that I was hoping that we would have an opportunity if we wanted to proceed and purchase the land side of the business, that we could still pursue what the other items were that would have made a little bit more sense in my head. I think you got to move ahead too. I just don't know how this allows you to do that. Sorry.
So you can always make another motion following this motion.
It's a difficult subject, absolutely. So any further discussion? Then I'm going to call the question. So we're voting on council directs administration to return at a future date with consideration of final approval of the land purchase, which if granted will satisfy the applicable portion of the purchaser's true conditions precedent and the purchase agreement for the subject land. That is what we're voting on. Any further discussion? I will call the question. Sorry, and that's carried. Decision is indecision. Anything further on this?
Just out of curiosity, when can we actually discuss this item again to get down to a little bit more on the brass tax side of it?
That'd be a question to administration.
Through the Reeve to council, for clarification, are you asking you would like to discuss wastewater solutions further?
Yes, because I haven't heard a solution yet. And I'm not sure stopping it today it allows administration to come back at a later date with what happens for the purchase of the land. But I don't hear any discussion on what the final solution could be. That's all I'm asking.
Through the Reeve to council, we could do a motion arising on whether or not it's tied to this. If Mr. Bullock would like to do this we have a committee of the whole meeting in February to give time to prepare to have discussions of what are viable things to pursue. I'm not sure if I'm putting them on the spot, so I'm turning to look to see if that would work for your team to do a committee of the whole, because rather than in council, you can have a more fulsome conversation and still get the committee of the whole can still provide direction to administration.
Certainly through the chair, we can bring this back anytime. Most of the options to explore have been explored, and so just be a matter of bringing that information back to council and presenting to council what those options are. Now, there are potential maybe nuances to those options as well, for sure, but we can bring it back anytime as early as January, I would say, just to get some additional direction from where council wants to go with this, depending on what council wants to hear from administration going forward. But it may just be a representation of information that's already been shared.
There was 2 other options mentioned. There was a 20-acre option and a possible different land. If that could be looked into maybe just before the January meeting, and then we'd still have some time. I don't know if that's possible, though.
Through the Reeve to council, the only reason I'm elected for January is with the holidays and having the report deadline for a January 13th meeting, which is why I was suggesting maybe the first meeting in February to allow time, because that's a short turnaround time with the holidays, if that works for council.
That should work.
There was also a discussion about downhole options. I don't know if that's worth exploring. Honestly,
Options as discussed in camera.
So do we want a motion for that? So make a motion to proceed with the options discussed as kind of a discussed in camera general, and then try to turn over every rock, so to speak. Want to do that?
I'd like to make that motion that we do what Scott said.
A motion to direct staff to bring back in early 2026 options as discussed in camera.
Thank you. Thanks.
Council meeting be fine. Yeah. So that council direct administration to bring back report on options as discussed in camera on the Lakes of Muirfield Lagoon project prior or to the February 3rd, 2026 regular council meeting. Any discussion on the motion? I'll call the question. That we can agree on. That's passed. So we'll move on. I don't think there's any further discussion on this. I apologize, staff. I appreciate all your hard work on this. It's definitely it's a difficult egg to crack, so to speak. 7.7 earn interim operating budget. Joel.
Good afternoon, Council. Joel from administration here. Just give me 1 second to get set up. It looks more dramatic than it is. There's a lot of paper here, but so this next agenda item is on page 81 of your agenda package. So this is the request to approve the draft interim operating budget for 2026 through 2028 and the draft interim capital budget for 2026 through 2030. Budget presentation for the upcoming 2026 budget year was provided at the committee of the whole meeting on November 25th. At that time, the committee members were provided the detailed capital plan and the operating plan, and given an opportunity to come back with some questions if after review as well. Those questions have been restated in the report, found starting on page 82. with just a list of the questions and responses from administration on each of those questions. In addition, we'll start with the operating budget. The operating plan is the same as the one that was provided in the committee of the whole package, other than these changes in this table that have been noted, starting on page 81 and going through on the top of page 82. You'll note the majority of them have a relevant council resolution where I believe it's in the same meeting or the early December council meeting. There were some directives to add some projects and costs to the operating budget. And so those have been included as well, coming to a total increase of around $426,000. On the capital budget side, as was mentioned in the committee of the whole meeting, sometimes or typically what we'll do is we'll take carry forward items. Those are projects that are underway already and they're approved in the current year plan, so we're in 2025. And you'll note for the capital budget, the changes for the most part, other than these two smaller values for newly added and updated costs, that for the most part net out. Most of the $1.6 million change is from bringing forward current projects from 2025 to 2026. So again, those are already approved in the 25 capital plan, and it's just kind of an accounting practice to bring them forward. It allows us to show the budget in the next year, and then we can reflect the actual costs against that. So it's better, it's easier to kind of reflect on the performance against that budget rather than leaving it as no number. You'll note the questions up to question 6 there. In addition to the changes that were noted, and sorry, I should actually go to the schedule itself. It is on page 117. So the report noted a summary of the different types of capital changes. This is the detailed table that outlines the different projects and where those changes are derived from. You can see the reason column here, most of them being carry forward, a few updated costs, and then we have the restated summary of the different types of changes on the bottom of the table. That's the same thing that's provided in the council report package itself. Something else to note is council had asked at the time for just an update or so, an idea of what it might look like in terms of the current Rosebud facility, washroom facility, the seasonal facility, during the presentation of what that might look like. Mr. Rhymes is available to maybe provide a little bit of an update on the cost for that. I'm not sure if he wants to come and just give a quick summary on that.
We did some work. Dave Rhymes from administration, community services coordinator. We did a little bit of work on getting a quote for some engineering for an all-season building, and that quote came in at 105,000 K just for the design, not anything, no construction, just the design of that. So it came out quite a bit. Seems like a pretty big number for just design of a building. So we didn't really go any further than that. If council wants to go down that all weather and not the prefab building, we can do some work on it and bring a report back prior to the final approval of the budget and maybe have some more information on that. But it seems like those costs are going to be fairly high as well. And also with the Rosebud system, the way the septic system works there, it's only liquid, so you're still going to need a tank. So there's still going to be extra costs than just a regular kind of situation on servicing of that building, right? So.
Thank you. I've seen your face somewhere before. Were you at the Christmas party? Thank you for that information.
Yes, thanks to Mr. Rhymes there. So I just thought it was important to point that out. There's this last item that's noted on the community services table here. So the envelope budget here, again, doesn't include that change. It's for the seasonal facility. That's part of that project. The last piece was found on the last page here. Page 142. Sorry, 143. So administration went back and just did an analysis of some projects that may be deferrable with impact on them. And you can see the possible deferral, kind of the list here, deferrable by 1 year, deferrable consecutive years. We went project by project. We identified 20 in total and then summarized them in a table below just for council's reference. So again, these are not part of the current draft interim budgets that are included, but just to provide council some additional information if they choose to make any amendments to the draft. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Questions? Numbers, numbers, numbers. Thank you for the work on some of that deferrable stuff, kind of leaves some options. How are you looking for us now to give them further directions on some of that deferrable stuff, or?
Oh, sorry, my mic was still on. Through the Reeve, it's really council's prerogative of if they choose to make deferral options on projects in the interim budget. Just as a reminder, we also have a final budget, and that's also the time when the council sets the tax rates. We have the updated assessment values. We have the year-end financials are completed. So we have a kind of a complete picture of the finalized projects for the prior year. But again, it's council's choice to review those and make an adjustment for the interim if they choose to.
Thank you.
Just a question. Do we have any feel, and you might not be able to answer this, but just a question, do you have any feel for how many projects are deferrables? Like if we defer this, is there a lot of stuff in the pipeline coming that we need, that we should do this, or is your deferrables truly deferrable and we're not going to stack it for future years? Thank you.
Yes, through the Reeve. So when administration did review the projects, there were impacts on all of the projects from deferring. And if council finds any of those 20 items in there and would choose to defer them, staff are available to comment on any specific impacts that might have.
Sorry, looking page 143 for all council, but basically. For myself, when I look at the Muirfield stuff, being that it's under construction in a very foreseeable future, there's still lots that are being under construction there. The closest would probably be St. Andrews to being finished, but even 2026, I think we're pretty safe with saying it could go another year. It's probably the worst condition of every road there. But like Couts Close and Muirfield Crescent, that could go a while yet. The roads are actually in pretty good condition and they're still active construction. So, they're pouring basements, concrete trucks going in, could break sidewalks, things like that. I'd prefer when the buildings are done, then go in and do the final. That's just me. Because then you're going to chase more work. Go ahead.
That's through the chair, and just to answer part of one of your questions there about sort of stacking it. Most of the stuff on there, from what I understand, does need to be done at some point. So it would stack up in future years for sure if we did push it.
Pay now or pay later. Yeah. Every budget year, it's the same way. The problems never go away. They just get worse. Yeah.
Get more expensive.
Yeah. Well, it's relative because assessments go up. So, I mean, they're always there. So go ahead.
So I'd like to move that council approves the interim operating budget 2026 to 2028 as presented.
Thank you for that. Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. I'll call the question. That's carried. Another possible motion? There's another motion staff we're looking for the capital side. Go ahead.
I'll move that council approves the interim capital budget 2026 to 2030 as presented.
Thank you for that. Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
Not so much for discussion, but why was there two possibilities, one for a shorter term, one for the longer term? Just a
One's
question.
operating, one's capital, so different timeframes. I guess you could explain it better.
Yeah, sorry, through the Reeve, the timeframes between the operating and the capital budget are just set by the Municipal Government Act. For capital, you just require a 5-year plan, and operating it's just 3 years. So that's the only reason there.
Thank you. Any other questions? Motions on the floor. I will call the question. And that is carried. Thank you very much. Item number 7.8, encroachment agreement.
Good afternoon. My request for decision is a little simpler than some of these others. So beginning on page 144 of the agenda package, this request is for an encroachment agreement. It is, I'll bring up the location plan, which is on page 149. It is within the hamlet of Nightingale, 535 meters north of Highway 564, 60 meters west of Range Road 245. This parcel here. So some details. We'll look at the site plan and some aerial photos. So the request is to address a non-compliant accessory building located on these lands. A certificate of compliance was requested and the real property report identified one building that didn't meet the setbacks. It is shown to be encroaching over the northwest property line into the undeveloped laneway by 0.26 meters. On pages 155 and 156. I will show you some photos of this building. So the building is listed on the RPR as an outhouse. However, the applicant has clarified that although it was designed to look like an outhouse, it's a small shed, as the photos will show. So the shed is 16.58 square meters, so it wouldn't require a development permit if it met the setbacks, but since it does not, here we are. So should this encroachment agreement be approved, then a variance application will go to Municipal Planning Commission in January. So the parcel that borders the undeveloped laneway on the other side is an agricultural parcel with a large wetland on it. There's no structures anywhere near there. We circulated to our operations department and they said that the transportation department would have no concern with this encroachment agreement. Even another option would be that the landowner could apply for a road closure if they chose to. So staff's recommendation is on page 144. And that is that council, 144. That council approves an encroachment agreement with the landowner to allow an existing shed to encroach over the undeveloped laneway within the hamlet of Nightingale and authorize the Reeve NCIO to sign the agreement. And that concludes my presentation. Please let me know if you have questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead.
It was new to the back areas with Nightingale. It's recently in Division 6. I talked to a few of the landowners there, and that road allowance, there's some of them are quite interested in if they can acquire it. They keep it clean, they mow it, they do everything but own it. I don't know how to proceed. Should get them to come in and make an application, or do we have a little bit of an open house there and when people, because it affects a lot of people, that goes through touches a lot of properties.
During the road closure process, it is circulated to all adjacent landowners. I mean, this encroachment agreement was not circulated to adjacent landowners, but the variance application has been. Yeah, it's a bit of an unusual situation.
Yeah, I don't have so much trouble with the encroachment, but I would like to see a longer term fix to it. Because I don't think that'll ever be developed, that road. Not my lifetime anyway.
Through the Reeve to Councillor Kester, the landowner that's interested in having it closed can come to administration to talk about the road closure process and what that would involve. And during that circulation process of other parties that the way it works that are interested in buying a portion that abut it would also have that opportunity. So there is a process we've done with other laneways and alleys that have never been developed that they can close and proceed to and consolidate it to their lots.
I'm aware there's a process. I was wondering if the county could lead it. But I'm thinking it's probably easier for a landowner in the hamlet to lead it, and then it'll spread to everybody there. That's probably the way to do it best. So 7 say that I'll move that council approves an encroachment agreement with the landowner of plan 1744 AD Block 4 Lot 1-11. Southeast is 302524 west of the 4th meridian to allow an existing shed to encroach into an undeveloped laneway within the hamlet of Nightingale and authorize the Reeve and Chief Administrative Officer to sign the agreement.
Thank you. Motion on the floor, Councillor Clayton.
I'd agree with what the motion is, but it just boggles my mind on something this small that can be picked up with a forklift and moved exactly the distance that you should take it is beyond my thinking. Sorry.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Councillor Lars.
I think with a crowbar and a 4x4, I could move that thing in 15 minutes. I mean, this just seems ridiculous to me.
Yes.
So if it got defeated, what would be, then they'd have to move it? Okay, so just for council clarification on that, we could defeat this and it would go back and they'd have to deal with it. Just on the road closure part of it, I mean, I remember there was a train there years ago. Is that the train tracks or was there an actual road there? Because there was train tracks that went to the north. Do you remember?
I don't think that's part of the train track. I believe that is the road allowance. And I actually think there's a wetland there. Like, I don't think you could ever develop that at the slough.
Before WID put the canal into a pipe, this used to flood. And I've actually had people when I was the councillor there wanted that to fill back up again, but WID would fill it. But since it's been in a pipe, it's been extremely dry. They actually built a berm around that property when Nightingale Road was upgraded because that little shed would have floated away.
Agreed.
Honestly, yeah. And
I think that place is actually for sale.
That's exactly why this is happening.
Right now.
Yes. Go ahead.
Just a question to administration. If we approve this, it doesn't cost us anything. It doesn't really, do we have any, like it's not.
It's allowed to be there in perpetuity.
It's allowed, yeah, it would be there in perpetuity, but, until they sell it. Is that right? No.
It would stay with the land, but if it's no longer required, it can't be rebuilt.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think whether
That day's coming. When I look at the floor, I don't know if it can be moved.
Go ahead.
I also wonder if, one reason why they don't want to move it is the way the garage is situated to allow a vehicle to get into the back of that, which is a pretty large property. I would guess they don't actually want to move that little shed any closer because, because there's a gate there. I actually looked at that property.
Not much of a piece.
Good discussion. Any further? Call the question. I feel like there should be some music for this one. That's carried. We'll move on to an offer to purchase item 7.9. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Council. Sheriff Bars with administration to present an offer to purchase Lot 1, Block 12, Plan 968X for $2,000. The lot is located within the hamlet of Gleason and is a vacant residential parcel, approximately 3,000 square feet in size. The prospective buyer owns the adjacent lot to the north and is proposing to consolidate the two lots to create a larger and more functional residential parcel. Due to its size, the subject parcel is not independently developable as it does not meet the minimum width requirement under the land use bylaw. It's 25 feet and it requires a minimum of 35 feet. And as a corner lot, required setbacks further limit any potential buildable area. An accessory building, such as a garage, cannot be developed unless a principal dwelling exists, which is not possible on this lot. The land has greater development potential only if consolidated with the adjacent residential lot to the north. The $2,000 offer is based on recent comparable property sales in a similar municipality, Bassano, as there were limited sales data for non-developable lots in Gleason. Administration does consider the proposed sale price reasonable and acceptable. If council accepts the offer, administration will proceed with finalizing the purchase and sales agreement. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Questions? Go ahead.
I'll move that council accepts the offer to purchase roll number 5148355, Lot 1, Block 12, Plan 968X for $2,000, as outlined in the offer letter received November 29th, 2025, and authorizes the Reeve and Chief Administrative Officer to execute the purchase and sale agreement.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Any discussion? I'll call the question. That's carried. 7.11 Agricultural Service Board Reporting and Publications Policy. Mr. Brad Bullock.
Good afternoon, Council. Brad Bullock presenting this report for Council. This is a new Agricultural Service Board Reporting and Publications Policy that administration's developed and was presented to the Agricultural Service Board already in early October. Generally, the board seemed to accept the policy, but there was a revision that was asked, and then it was also directed by the board to administration to bring it in front of council as well. So the policy, the Agricultural Service Board Act does require that the board report back to council annually on its programs and services. And so this policy does provide some guidelines around that for council's consideration. The policy also does explore and provide some general provisions about general publications for the Agricultural Service Board and how that would look and how it gives some administration some guidance on those publications. So on page 187 of the agenda, it shows what the additional in bold there, what the additional text was that the board asked to be included. I believe we captured that correctly. And I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. Questions?
Just a quick question on page 191. It sort of lists the kinds of publications that the Ag Service Board might publish. And I just want to verify. So sometimes we ask administration to post a public service type announcement type thing on social media, for example, to slow down around slow moving ag equipment at seeding and harvest times, or to publish on social media that people should slow down when they're passing residences on gravel roads, things like that. Does this allow for that? Is that a separate thing?
Through the chair, yes, I think this policy itself gives sort of ongoing direction to administration for publications and the type of publications to make. As council knows, there are various events and activities by the board and by administration that administration does proactively publish, not always without specific board or council direction. So this policy is intended to just give general guidance on that. It doesn't preclude the board or council asking administration to make publications of specific items at any time that the board or council wants.
Okay, thank you for that.
Any other discussions? Council's wishes?
That the council approves the attached ASB reporting and publication policy as presented.
Thank you. Motion is on the floor. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. And that's carried. Move on to, go ahead.
While we're on the Ag Service Board, we're short a member at large. Are we looking for another member at large?
Through the chair, there has been some advertisement that has gone out to invitation for applications for that. The intention actually is to bring that back to council on January 13th. If we get applications in order to present those applications to council, and council can make a decision on that. If we don't have applications by then we will re-advertise and bring that back to council once we do.
That's one thing. The other thing is on the Alice board, we're short a member from the Ag Service Board. 2 members from members at large. So we're short a member on the Alice board too. I'm just wondering, because we're going to have an Alice meeting before we get another board member, right? I think there's an Alice board on next month too.
Yes. Sorry.
Would we have to wait to an Ag Service Board meeting to fill that vacancy, or how would we go about, or just have the alternate come and be there? I guess we could do that too.
Yeah, through the chair, we were looking at this as well. Actually, administration's been looking at the terms of reference for the Alice committee, and we were going to bring a recommendation back to the board just to potentially provide a little bit more flexibility into the makeup of that board, so we don't run into these situations as often. But I know the intention is it's on our radar and to assist the board and to fill that position as well.
Okay, thanks. Any further? We'll move on to Wheatland County and Rocky View ACP grant application.
Brad Bullock presenting this report. Again, this is a application that administration has submitted. However, and discussed with Rocky View County administration. So the reason why we're bringing this now is it was kind of some late fall discussions with Rocky View County administration about potentially looking into a study about identifying potential areas where we could do some shared servicing initiatives with Rocky View. So the intention of the study, as outlined in the application, is more of an opportunity-based study to see where there might be opportunities that Rocky View County and Wheatland County may want to pursue further for potential regional servicing solutions between the 2 municipalities. So we did go ahead and submit the application for the grant prior to the deadline. The conditions for that grant also require council approval of both municipalities for the grant submission. and that is due by December 23rd of this year. So the report has already gone to Rocky View Council at the beginning of this month, and their council has approved that grant submission. And so now we're bringing it to Wheatland County Council to see if council would also approve of that grant submission. If council does, we will share that information with the grant administrators, and that'll complete the application.
Thank you. Questions, Councillor Bigger?
Yeah, I have a comment. I think with this process, I think it would be actually advantageous if we had the two reeves on this too. That both the reeves, the Rocky View reeve and our reeve on this committee or on the discussion with staff.
Just a statement more than a question, but well done to administration for, trying to work, closely with our neighboring municipalities. Thank you.
Thanks. Go ahead.
I'd like to move that council support Wheatland County 2026 Alberta Community Partnership Intermunicipal Collaboration Grant application submitted jointly with Rocky View County to complete the regional servicing infrastructure study for the Southwest Wheatland and the Southeast Rocky View region.
Thank you. Motions on the floor. Question I have, Southwest Wheatland, does that include Muirfield? In their discussions in the future? What we've just had, well, that's a big, great, to me, I'll support this if it includes that.
I would, Muirfield is not in the Southwest region. However, when we look at potential opportunities of, let's just say, local regional solutions or multi-ASP solutions, some of those solutions have included and do include piping wastewater down to that region of the county. And so, yes, by collar area, that would include Muirfield as part of those solutions as well.
Okay. And then as one of our councillors has a question about how it goes forward, what do you foresee meeting wise? I guess I'm always available if you need, but it definitely would help having the reeve of Rocky View abreast is what's going on, because this is his division as well, part of it. So would help to have that support because it's budget issues, and I just want to see what you think.
Certainly. If I think administration's intention right now is to wait to see if we do get approved for the grant. If we do, then we would move ahead establishing those committees in terms of references associated with those committees, and certainly bring that back to council for approval, and then also discuss with council who actually sits on those committees.
Okay, that answers a lot of questions, I think. So any further discussion? Motion's on the floor. I'll call the question. That's carried. Anything else before we go in camera? I believe Councillor Bigger requested something that it has to do with MLA DeJong, what she had discussed here. So
Yeah, and I know that I'm bringing it up now, but there is a deadline when she was talking about the MLA borders and that you have till Thursday to respond. I was wondering if council would participate maybe in a letter to the province stating I'm opposed. My biggest concern is the Bow River is an actual division. It always has been. Our division would be part of, and yours would be part of High River, and I feel like that is just not us. So I would really like support of council to put a letter together. I did talk to MLA DeJong, and she said that there's certain criteria that should be in the letter that she would help staff with to write. And if it could just maybe come out in an email, and that we could get it emailed right before Thursday this week. So I would put a motion if I could, if it's allowed.
well, I guess we'll council consider this. It wasn't on the agenda, but it does pertain to what we learned today. So I'm seeing nodding heads that we can do something. So
So certainly I'm not opposed to putting a motion on the floor, but to be honest, I kind of like the way the new division looks. It includes all of Wheatland in one, along with Vulcan and High River area, but I do like that Wheatland is represented by, well, it looks like most of I think it's all of Wheatland. I'm not sure. Well, no, along Highway 1, I guess there's a little cutout, but I don't know. I'm not sure that I'm opposed to it.
And at first, when the first boundaries came out, we had 4 MLAs and we thought it would be to our disadvantage. And actually how it turned out, it was to our advantage to have 4 speaking for us. We had them all 4 here quite a few times, or I don't know how many times, but it did actually help us. So that's something to consider too. We would only have 1 MLA.
So I know the reason that they are doing this is because the population is shifted. They have to have equal representation. So I don't know, are we meant to propose something different? Or what are we supposed to do in our letter? Curious how we, how do we propose that they redo it?
So I don't believe the process is that we submit something different. They basically oppose what's there, and then they come back with draft 2, draft 3, is what I heard briefly here. So. Go ahead.
I'll just second what Councillor Bigger says, is that, the river is just a huge natural boundary, right? It's a geographical, there's only X amount of bridges between us, and we do more stuff east and west in this county than we do with counties to the south of us. So I would support her letter.
Go ahead.
Border we have now is a big sea. Like, I can't see the advantage of it. There is none. I liked it the way it was before, when we were the whole county and we shared with Newell County. But now we're sharing with Mountain View County, Knowles, Didsbury, Nehill. Yeah, it goes all the way up there. It's a long drive to get to the other end of. I would see it have the whole county again. Like if Minister Angela Pitt only has about, I don't know if she has 20 people in the county. She helps and she'll talk, but to get her out to a meeting, I've been here once, I think, in years.
I would agree with that. I'm personally represented by Joseph Shaw, and he we're pretty far away from where he is, and we have a Siksika between us and the rest of his constituency. So yeah, I don't know. I don't feel very representative the way it is currently.
I think the areas are just too big. Yeah, yours goes right down to the border.
Good discussion. No motion on the floor.
Well, I feel like I can put the motion on the floor and it gets defeated. It gets defeated.
Okay.
I don't know how to word it. I propose that we, as a council, draft a letter to the province with our concerns with the first draft of the MLA borders, and saying that Bow River is more of a natural division or boundary. Does that make sense?
We'll see how the motion gets typed up. I see concern.
Through the Reeve to Council, just for clarification, because of the tight timeline, circulate the draft through the Reeve to Council, and then if it's approved, you're authorizing the Reeve to send the letter. Just
That'd be the only way it's going to work.
because there's no time to bring a draft letter back. So circulate it via email.
Thinking. Yeah, we're just waiting to see what comes up. So basically, a letter will be written by staff, circulated around council. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, if there's none by a certain time, I sign it and send it off.
Pretty hard to use the Bow River as a thing when we've already got the Bow River as a divide.
Yeah.
Just
So-
shifting over.
So the motion is that council direct administration to draft and send a letter to the province with concerns of the first draft of MLA borders and state that the Bow River is a more natural boundary. Does that sound what you're trying to do? Okay. Any discussion on the motion? I'll call the question. That's carried. We will move, I'll move us into in camera at 2:08 PM. And we'll move into the conference room again. Motion on the floor, I will call the question. Donnie, got a vote?
Oh.
Got a vote. That's carried. We're up and running. We're resuming council meeting December 16th, 2025. There is no motions arising from the in-camera session, and I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone. Have a good Christmas.